You are all so welcome to our first virtual training workshop with Roscommon Leader Partnership under the Catalyse Social Enterprise Programme. Funded, as you can see at the bottom there, by our core funders, and well done Roscommon on finding funding, I suppose, to support the community enterprise sector. So this is one of, just give you a quick overview of what the programme is about. So what I love is that from the shores of Loughree to the Orignum Mountains, you are most welcome. We have nearly every part of Roscommon covered, I think, as part of this. So it's great to get together. And part of this is about sharing the experience we're all going through, and your social enterprises are going through, and how we are emerging better and stronger if we can at all, and serve those that we you know are they're our core audience. So we've got 5 online workshops, and they are supplemented by 2 one-to-one mentoring clinics. So that's where you're going to find great value, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a while. The Momentum team, some of you know us longer than others, and I'll share with you what our skill set are that you can tap into and really, I suppose, help you to get through this time. And really what Roscommon Leader Partnership want is that we help you in terms of the marketing and the overall business development, really getting business back on track and availing of new opportunities, I suppose, in this changing environment. So not only do we have a pandemic, we also have a recession. We've come through recession before, and some of you started in recession, and some of you are starting now in another recession, but it's about that resilience, and I suppose, you know, really trying to, you know, build as strong as we can. Roscommon, I think, was one of the counties that stood out for me in terms of the COVID response, and very much from a grassroots community perspective. You know, we really, from Meals on Wheels to all types of, you know, Ross FM, everybody played a huge part in, I suppose, keeping everybody included in the response. So I suppose, what have we learned from that we can now invent, develop new solutions, I suppose, that will respond to what our communities are going through, but also keep us very solvent and get more comfortably financially. So, and again, we're going to be helping you do what you do best. So I want to hear from you. So what I'd love is just everybody to say hello, a little bit about you, the name of your social enterprise, and what I would love is, what have you learned about your social enterprise since or during COVID-19? You know, what have you had to dig into really deeply? And we'll be talking about challenges later, but just for now, what have you learned? So where will we start? Will we go? Can you see around the screen in terms of where people are situated on the? We start with you, Mary Lavin, is that all right? Can you hear me?
It's probably in as Mary Lavin, it must be Audrey, is it?
Oh, sorry, Audrey, sorry, okay. Audrey, do you want to?
Hello, good morning everybody. How are you? My name is Audrey Murphy. I work here in the Hub Community CAF. We support 17 young adults with ID. So we run a small second-hand shop, the Hub of Treasures, and the coffee shop, and which is small. But we're learning, you know, the new ways. We're trying online at the moment for the second-hand shop. So
Brilliant.
we're doing a few things there. It'll all take time and setting up stuff and all. So it's all new to us. So we're hoping to get new ideas as we go around the, you know, with this. And that's kind of it. And our coffee shop is, we don't know, we hope to open in August, our coffee shop, but it'll be at a smaller setup, you know. And we're just wondering, when you're outside, you know, just say if you were to set outside a small pub kind of set up, would you have to have insurance on that, I wonder?
For eating outside, is it for?
Well, no, just if you had a little kind of a takeaway coffee set up outside on the street outside, would you have to? Do you know Strokestown?
Yeah.
And the wide streets there, you know, we're up near where the bank is.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you're talking about having some sort of a coffee cart or something, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Would you have to have that covered by
Yeah,
the
yeah. Well, you have to have a license, basically, a trading license. But it's not expensive, I don't think. Patricia probably knows more about this than Sabrina from Unawan, so we can definitely come up with a solution and help you look at it. Yeah.
Yes. So that's our story here.
Great. And it's great to hear that you're about to go on the online journey of sales, because that's something I think we all have to
look at,
get up to speed on. Absolutely, yeah. Perfect. Great. Sabrina, you're next on my screen here. Your mic, we can't hear you.
I turned that off in case the 3-year-old runs in. Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. It's lovely to see you this morning. I suppose, I think it might be more worthwhile if Tish maybe kind of starts us off in terms of the Unawan story.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, hope you don't mind, Tish. Might be easier just for the overall. Or is she there? Maybe she's not there.
I am here.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't see you, sorry.
Good morning, Ola.
Morning,
Good morning,
Tish.
everybody.
Lovely to see you.
Hi. We're here based in the lovely sunny town of Boyle. We're located in the grounds of King House here, and we're Unawan Tourism, and we have a craft shop. We promote tourism in the area, and we have our farmers market, and we also are involved in a lot of different community events, festivals, and generally various things in the community, although like everybody else, those things have changed a little bit since the COVID-19. So yes, that's what we're here fundamentally for, is to promote and market tourism and small businesses and the small producers. The challenges during the shutdown, Ola, like everybody else, we locked down. We had our staff working remotely, and one of our staff members worked here in the shop, even though it was closed. What I've learned from the shutdown, I have a great team, and they are really pulled their sleeves up and worked really hard in other areas that we were sort of putting on the long finger, and we had the opportunity. I suppose that was a plus thing from the COVID.
Yeah.
We looked at various things we had been thinking of for ages, and we implemented them then when we were shut down. We are back open now. We are finding that there are tourists around. We actually had our first American tourist this morning, which it's a bit difficult because you're not sure really what to do, which is right for staff and for the tourists as well. We did keep our farmers market running throughout the lockdown with a click and collect, and when we opened up, we were overwhelmed with the support that we have been receiving. Our market has really thrived throughout the whole COVID shutdown, and I think generally people really are looking to the community and to their own area, and they really want to support it. I suppose that's what we're really finding,
and we need to keep that. Is important.
Yes,
build on that. Yeah.
So I suppose I have Sabrina and Anna here. Anna looks after our shop and all the small scale producers, and Sabrina works hard on tourism, which is finding it's difficult at the moment, but people are coming out and about. So I'm not going to hog the limelight anymore. So I continue. So that's just an overview of ourselves, Orla.
No, that's brilliant. And I'll be touching on a lot of what you've said and throughout the workshop. Yeah, brilliant. Isha, back to yourself in the stock room.
Yes, hello. We actually didn't close down at all during lockdown. We closed the community centre.
So just to share with everybody where you're from.
I'm from Kilbride Community and Leisure Centre and Shop. So we have an AstroTurf pitch, we have a shop, we have a community centre, and we have a community bus. Now the services that closed down was the community bus and the centre closed down, but we were operating more in the shop during the lockdown. So like the last lady said that people were supporting, local people were supporting, so we're doing deliveries with the community bus. So we found the COVID was great. Our sales went up, so we were able to supply more stuff to people and get more stuff from the different places. So yeah, but the centre now didn't really. It's only opening up now, and the gym has opened up since we were allowed to open up. So they're coming back slowly because we've made it quite safe and.
And you have a huge space. I mean, you're socially distancing, everything won't be a problem for you. Sure, you won't easily.
No, we're lucky. The confirmation is going to be here now, but there's no income out of it. But, you know, people are using it, but, you know.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's all that goodwill will pay back as well. I know you say income and goodwill are two different things, but yeah, that will help. Great. Thanks, Zita. And what did you learn about since COVID or during COVID about Kilbride community?
Well, the community were great, let's say, to support us. Now that the support has mostly stopped, but during COVID they did support us. And
okay, right. Okay, we'll try and get them back. Great. Hello, Peter. How are you?
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
It's Peter Griffin here from the Coulthard Community Development Group. We're not strictly a social enterprise unit yet, but we're actively working towards that end. And we started up as a Tidy Towns group, and some years ago now we took over the old Garda Barracks from the LPW. It was quite an extended process. It's now renovated. It was completely derelict. But we use it as a community house, it has community facilities in it. But we're actually working towards creating a John McGavran Interpretive Centre. So we've been working closely with Roscommon County Council Arts Officer and Tourism Officer. And as far as the lessons learned, well, our building unfortunately hasn't been used during this pandemic. I suppose the major effect of the pandemic on us is the loss of fundraising activities, and we were able to rent out some space in on our first floor, but that hasn't been possible. So apart from attending a COVID-19 similar to this workshop and taking precautions in our building for any visitors, that's about the extent of anything I've learned so far.
Okay, all right then. Have the plans to develop the interpretive centre been delayed or put on hold, or it's obviously not going to happen this year, Peter?
No, we have attracted a certain amount of funding, and we are on target to open our building in March next year.
Okay, great.
So we have Sean Forsyth, who's a very good designer of small museums. He has worked up a plan for us, and that's progressing quite well.
Great, brilliant, great. So March 2021, fantastic. Great, thank you, Peter. So Martina Dockery, how are you? Hi. Oh, we can't hear you, Martina. We're on mute now. Okay, let's unmute. Can. Here we are, Martina. Can we hear you? Hello. No, we're not hearing you, Martina. Will we come back to you in a few minutes? Okay, we'll come back in a minute. Is that all right? Pierce, would you like to say hello? Hi. We're in Lockery. I can see the banner. Good marketing, Pierce. Good marketing.
Yeah, this is the Lockery Hub. We're also involved in the Access for All project.
Yes.
We're receiving a boat next month, and it'll be able to carry at least 10 to 12 passengers of all sorts, disabled and abled.
Okay, perfect.
We also have a centre down there that's in the process of going to be developed, and we hope to have a coffee shop and an outside area too. And this will be mainly for people who are waiting, basically.
Lovely. Okay.
So during the COVID lockdown, we kept in touch through the internet, of course, And a lot of us learned about this game here, Zoom.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
so otherwise than that, we kept in touch. We were always in touch. We have a group page on WhatsApp, which keeps us constantly in touch.
Yeah.
So other than that, we're just waiting for things to develop a little more now, the boat to arrive and the centre then to be developed. So we're working out a hub here with Kieran Maloney, like, and his gang here. So
yeah. And your marketing plans are kind of coming together, are they, Piers, to launch the boat and stuff, or is that something we can help with?
yeah, we're targeting through Facebook and through other platforms. We're targeting, but they're mainly an international audience so far, but we have a large audience from Dublin that are very interested in the Shannon area. So yeah, I think we need to target more Dublin than international at the moment with the COVID. It's kind of interfering with everything.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, but it's good to get marketing ready to go as such. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, brilliant. Great, Piers. Well done. Hello, Adrian. How are you?
Hi, I'm involved with the same project as Piers.
Okay,
And
great.
as he said, the COVID has actually delayed it by about a year now.
Oh.
So we're hoping to get everything up and running beginning of next year. But
Yeah.
we're gonna miss this summer. So in the meantime, we're doing training courses, skippers courses for the boats and that, and all that. So we're doing, but everything has been delayed by a year, unfortunately.
Okay.
So that's
And
about
I think
it.
that's something to kind of, again, when we're looking at communications, that's something that we're going to be asking you to work on, is, you know, just explain and to people about how it has affected your plans, because you will get support, you know, and also on the other side, the funding side of it. So I'll be talking to you about, you know, because delays cost money also. So
yeah, the fortunate,
opportunities.
well, I'll say fortunate, it's not really fortunate that we had the pandemic, is because it's given us a chance with the change of the government and everything, that they've got new strategies in terms of where they want to be and where they want to position themselves in view of a green environment.
Yes, yeah.
So it's opened up extra opportunities for us in terms of funding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in a way it's been a blessing, but in a way it's not, you know, because like I'm personally still sitting at home, even though I'm doing courses and that. We can't get our hands stuck in, you know, to getting going, you know.
No, and you bring up a really good point, that there's a program called Green Deal that's coming from Europe, and also in the program for government, they promised a climate action fund within 100 days of them setting up. So we'll all try and get some of that when it's released. Yeah, I'll have you ready.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Great, brilliant. Thank you, Adrian.
Okay.
Hello, Valerie. In the Iriga mining experience, I'd say the views must be glorious today. Oh my God.
Absolutely beautiful morning up here. Good morning, everybody, from myself and Bernie. My colleague is with me here as well. It's a great morning. Thank God. Hope you're all well. Again, like everybody, Orla, I suppose we've all had very similar problems over recent months, but everybody is well, and that's the main thing. Thank God.
Yeah.
We were probably one of the first businesses to close on the 13th of March. Again, we're a facility and actually only opened last week. Now, a few of us were working from home throughout, but most of the staff were actually off. But we're back about 6 weeks in preparation, putting everything into place, because we've quite a big area to cover here and to put all the safety guidelines in place.
Yes.
We would have run a booking online system, but we only had about 2 tours a day. The booking online system. Now we've had to go, all tours are gone booking online. Whereas previously our business would have been kind of 90% of walk-in. People would come to the door and we'd pick them on the next available tour. Whereas now it's all gone to the booking online, and only a third of the capacity that we used to have before.
A third,
So,
okay.
A third. So our business is very much hampered at the moment, no more than every other business.
I know.
The booking online is working well, but then we have also come across where older people that aren't used to booking online have come to if we've had availability, we try to fit them on the next available tour. But then you're limited with the amount of people you have in the building. We can only have 50 at any one time between ourselves and the coffee shop, you know. So we have to continually monitor that as well. But at least that's guidelines for everybody. We're all in the same boat.
Everybody's in the same boat, yeah.
If we learned anything over the last couple of months, it's staff were always new, were extremely committed. You know, they were dying to get back 6 weeks ago and just get in, and we staggered the shifts just to have people working together again in small teams. And I try to continue them working those teams now, and just to minimise the risk to everybody. And we're back, we're open, and we're just towards to try and build the business from here, really. All the same as all of us, we're all, but wishing everybody well for the future.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thank you. Thank you, Valerie. Mary, do you want to say anything else? Your sound, Mary. Sorry.
Is it this Mary?
Here.
Oh, sorry, Mary Keane for now. Sorry, one more.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong one.
No, you're fine. There you are, yeah.
Okay, just to say, I'm one of the project workers on this social enterprise
freezing on us.
initiative. It's great to get to know everybody on the Syrian Women Project in Childhood Dream, which was most enlightening and exciting from the perspective of connecting in with communities. And I must say, what I've learned from, I suppose, COVID is that community is very strong in Roscommon. And I think, you know, it's something you should be very proud of. And I'm working with a number of the groups there on a one-to-one basis around support. And I look forward to, you know, this being a great initiative and building the confidence locally.
Brilliant. Great. Thank you, Mary. Deborah, are you there? Or
Hi, sorry.
No, you're fine. How are you?
Good. So I'm Deborah Tierney and I work with Trist Press. We're a social enterprise in Roscommon town. We do print and design, and we have 14 supported staff members with an intellectual disability. During lockdown, we were able to keep our revenue streams going by remote communications that kind of opened us up to new markets as well that we weren't expecting, because we were able to do that kind of fluidly. We were able to take in the information through email and WhatsApp, and we were able to post out people's orders, which is a whole new kind of level of work for us now. So we're pursuing that.
That's great.
We're kind of updating our website now to allow e-commerce, and so people can make their orders directly through our website. So like others were saying, as well as it was kind of a knockback, there was a blessing in disguise in it as well for us.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, that's great. So again, embraced the online probably faster than you would have done otherwise. So that's great. And that's
absolutely. It was something that we'd talked about, but you know, when you're kind of caught up in the day to day and you're busy, and we never really just got around to it.
Short term. Yeah. Brilliant. Great, Deborah. Great. Lovely. Okay. Maybe Sanya, will you say hello to everybody? Sanya started with Momentum yesterday, so she's brand new to the team and will be working with all of us on this project.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm in Sligo town currently. It's a pleasure to start working with Momentum. On the other hand, I also started something that's in this area of social enterprise. It's a magazine and it's online, and it focuses on multicultural work and integration and diversity. So we did a lot of these communications through social media. We've built a relationship with the audience. So there's that part of the whole story that I'm especially kind of interested in, and then I think I might have something for you to contribute as well.
Brilliant, yeah. And just to share with people the name of the magazine.
So it's Outside Multicultural Magazine. OutsideMagazine.ie. That's how you find it if you ever want to take a look.
and it's just growing and growing. It came to our attention before we knew that Sanya was looking or could be tempted into the team. So it's great. It's great. So thank you. Mary Guihan, I can see you. Mary Lavin, Mary Guihan, I can see you and I could hear you at times there. Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks. Will I go back on again? Yeah. Thanks very much. I'm representing actually today the Manona Mina story. So we have a little project up here that started off as the Miners' Wives years ago, in 2006 actually. And at the moment now we have a little project. It is an intergenerational, sorry, you know, tracing your roots. So we have one of them now has a degree in you know, that area, and she's hoping to set up a little opportunity for people to trace their roots from the area and even from, you know, anywhere in Ireland. She's able to go back to the valuation or the, you know, 1905 census. So that kind of thing. I'm not too good on it now, but she's starting, and hopefully, you know, we'll be able to. It's an online, really. It's going to be online most of our marketing, because you know, it's a worldwide kind of an idea as opposed to a local idea. From that point of view.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mary. Martina, can we try your sound again? You're just still on mute there, Martina? Can we hear you now, Martina? No. No. Hello. Oh, we're having problems with your mic, Martina. It's not just me, I'd say. No one can hear? No. Oh, well, you know, we might just ask you to put something into the team chat. We have a chat function here. You can chat down at the bottom. So you just say hello. We'll catch up with you, but stay with us, obviously, please. That'll be great. Have I everybody covered? Yeah.
Yes, I think.
It's great. It's really important that we kind of get to know each other, because again, a lot of people are new to me, whereas I know some people for quite a long time. So, inside, just perfect. I suppose I want to go through with you just what the headings are, and we are very keen that we adapt the modules or the course content to be very, very applicable to all the issues that you raised with us. Some of you got speaking with Laura yesterday in much more detail, which was brilliant. She did a call around, and I suppose we were very much open to suggestions as well. So today really is about setting the scene, a little bit about new business opportunities, and a little bit about why the marketing and communications and the digital part is going to be so important going forward. And we're conscious that, you know, people, you know, have very little resources, so everything that we're doing is going to be at little or no cost, which is, you know, really, really important. So next week we have Laura Megan, who some of you met on the previous program that was ran a couple of years ago, and she's very much looking at specific marketing that it's called mission marketing. So it's very much about reaching the hearts and minds and spending power of your audience. We're looking at your brand and looking at maybe a refresh of that, but building, you know, more meaning into it in your communications, and literally what's your product. So, you know, getting into detail on that. Then the final module before we take a break for August is communication. So we're looking at digital and social media tools. So I know some of you have used Facebook very effectively. Some of you have yet to start using Facebook. So it's just one of a number of other tools that we'll go through with you. Some of them might be new to you. We show you fresh ways of using them and getting more impact. And I know one or two had mentioned, you know, that you would use paid campaigns. So we look at that, whether it's worth investing some money in some of it. Typically, if your story is good enough, and you're active enough, we can do it. We can work around it. Again, what's your story? The storytelling part is really important. The fact that we're for good is our differentiating part. So that's really, really important. Sorry, chat is looking at me. Oh yeah, so Sonia's telling us that we have a Q&A section. And this, yes, is there somebody's mic on, Sonia? Can you just have a look there? Patricia's bringing it up just to see where that's at. Sorry. Throughout all of this, I'm going to have, that's better, I think. Throughout all of this, I'm looking at business development and funding opportunities, because this week we're getting the new July stimulus from the government. We're expecting at-risk sectors or sectors that have been particularly hard hit to be included in that. That includes community enterprise, and it also includes tourism. So some of you will have a number of opportunities, local service as well, such as printing, or others will all qualify. So this is on top of some of the opportunities that are already in place. So we're going to look at that for the start of next week's session before Laura starts. And I'm going to ask you to come back to me about some of that content as well. And then what's next, looking at what's in the future. So we know that the world of online has come to us very, very quickly. But what else can we do? And one of the things we're very keen to do is that we start to work together, pooling resources, get the most out of networking, getting some of that goodwill from the volunteers that we had back into it. And again, everything is about, you know, attracting as much resources as we can. Perfect. So I mentioned the 5 sessions, and then we have mentoring. So there's 2 mentoring clinics per organisation, and we really want this to be very, very practical. So hands-on advice and assistance on current communications, social media, branding and design. This would cover you know, if you want us to help create some content, if you want us to do some branding and design. Patricia, I was just thinking this could, or Tish, this would cover the other project that you're looking at now. Perhaps we could work with you in this regard. We have a lot of expertise, I suppose, in fundraising and funding. So we'll deal with that as the group, but also on a one-to-one basis if you wish. Looking at expanding the business, new services. So for example, with the hub, looking at, you know, how we can get that coffee cart set up and help you, you know, launch that. Developing a social media content plan for 6 months ahead. How-to sessions, if you want literally step-by-step guide to go through marketing and social media, we'll do all that. So we'll ask you to have a think about how best we can use our 2 sessions with you. We have a team of graphic designer, PR, marketing communications, and myself, I suppose, on the business development, fundraising and funding side of it. So here to help, to have a think about how we can help you in that regard. I might just skip this for the moment. I'll come back to it at the end when we open up the mic again, but I want to know, that will guide my work. Have you availed of any specific COVID-19 funding supports? How is your awareness of the funding that's out there? And then we'll make a plan for the next workshop, if that's okay. So I suppose the context of this course is that, you know, social enterprise is business for good, but it's still a business. And a lot of you are worried about, you know, recurring, the cost of reduced income and the cost of doing business. So a lot of you had to invest lots of money in COVID signage, etc. But, you know, a lot of us are, I suppose many of us are in crisis, but we're also in survival mode. But it was really, really assuring to hear that you were looking at the future and the recovery phase, and that has started already. So that's brilliant. And what we want to do through this course is, you know, look at those new market opportunities. We're reimagining services and products. So for example, the Courtyard Farmers Market was looking at, you know, click and collect. what's the next phase? You know, is it into online, having a more permanent online presence and whatever. New needs from our communities, and this opens up new space for new business models. And these business models, because you're a social enterprise, have purpose, and that's what it's all about. So it's really clear our economy needs social enterprise more than ever, and I think that's important to remember. Just, I suppose, to set the scene for the marketing side of it and the tone of marketing that we'll be using, because this is different to content that we've ever covered before. But again, marketing, just putting everything you can do to put your product or your service in the hands of potential customers. It's that simple. What we're trying to create is a process through which we, you know, generate income in potential customers in your products and services. So for example, the hub and the new, you know, moving the secondhand shop online, again, you know, that's going to give you much more scope, and all of us, to create more wider interest amongst potential customers, and geography not being a barrier. And good marketing makes it easier to sell your product or service. And really great marketing is about standing out. So I'm a lover of the purple cow context, that, you know, in a field full of cows, well, you can be the purple cow that stands out. And it's about being visible, but most importantly, being consistent. And for marketing is really down to relationships, and more than ever, your marketing message needs to focus on reassurance. And what we're trying to, I suppose, help you to do is change your message slightly, or adapt your message that, yes, we're open, yes, we are safe, and then underpin that by providing some proof. Does that make sense? So I suppose I just wanted to summarize where we're at in terms of marketing and business development with Laura's whistle stop tour yesterday. And if you know Laura, it was fast and furious. But over half of you on this course have no website at all yet, or you have no or inactive social media. So that's something I think that we, even if you're not opening until March of next year, or you're not launching something until next year, you really need to be putting in place your website and all the tools, I suppose, from the end of this year onwards, Q4. So one of our modules is going to help you do that with you know, very little funds. We can help you to set up a website on your own, through your own, or there are some funds available, I suppose, out there that we can look at. The branding, you felt that some of you have no particular branding, and some of you feel that your branding is tired, and some of it is there but it's under the radar. So that's something we can certainly help you with. Looking at the whole area of business development in a crisis, so moving your business to some online element. You know, if we were having this conversation in January, you would probably say, oh, we couldn't be an online business, but you are, and you have overcome a lot of it. But the business development in the crisis, so what we're looking at is helping you replace lost business. So Valerie is down to a third of her business. Most of you are at a reduced level of capacity. You know, how can we help replace that? Some of you have attracted new customers, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And it's just so important that they don't drift away or get lost on us. So we need to capture their information and keep them involved. So keeping that new business that we've gained, that you know, is brilliant. For example, Loughrea, you were probably looking to an international market in the outset, and now you're concentrating perhaps on Dublin. But are there other areas that we need to be looking at and looking and being sure of? The adapting the business model. So Kilbride is looking after communions or confirmations, and I know that that's not available for funding, but places are, even colleges are looking for spaces to run remote learning, remote working. People are looking for hot desks and whatever. So there's new business models that we can help to identify through COVID, and this is what you have told us that you're looking for. And again, we're absolutely conscious that people have no or very little money for marketing. So let's be realistic from the start. This is, you know, what we're where we're coming from. I just want to talk to you a little bit about the reassurance marketing. So we'd love you to help, even on your website. I know some of you have developed new content for your website, but across social media and all other channels, and as you're developing a new website, is about, you know, think about how to communicate, explaining what you're doing and why, and be a good listener. So I think asking questions of your customers or your customer base is really important to know what their fears are, because people are, I suppose, in feeling very uncomfortable. People are feeling, you know, that little bit unsure, and hearing those early warning signals from customers in terms of what they want and how they feel is really, really important. And you can then repeat this back to them in their marketing messages. So, for example, one project that we've just worked on, and some of you will be familiar with the Hive in Carrick-on-Shannon, and actually Colin it worked in a rig mining experience before Valerie, but we've done a little bit on their communications to help them. So if you look at the little flyer that we've done, and I've more on the next page, but we've addressed that people are fearful. So we're saying that, you know, it's uncertain that the world of work will be forever changed by the pandemic. So we're upfront that everything is different, but also putting some hope back in there that entrepreneurs and teams will re-engineer their business or whatever. And the message that we're giving, that, you know, the Hive is here to help you prepare for X, Y, Z, being that very, very, very clear. So we're trying to reassure, and our language is very different to if we were doing this pre-pandemic, in terms of how you know, what the messaging is. So what I'd love to do is work with you, and you to provide us with content, and I'll give you your details at the end of it, is, you know, how can you change your language to this current circumstances, and where you will use that new language would be, perhaps I would love to, you know, in either your own newsletter or use somebody else's, so the community newsletter. Definitely to update website text. Websites are still tired. They still have a lot of content that hasn't been updated, and I think that's something we could address within the next couple of weeks quite easily, and we can help you do that through the mentoring. Change your Facebook banner and other social media, maybe some pinned posts or whatever, and the girls will help you with that. But again, to you know, bring some freshness to it in terms of it. The local press are looking for interesting stories, and I know we've Ross FM on the programme as well, but to write an article about what your perspective is as you come out of this, or what you've learned. And ultimately, we'd love to see you using more video. I want to see the Origna Mountains, the Lockery, the Unawan, the courtyard, the items that you have for sale in Strokestown. Everybody should be creating more photographic content, but definitely lots more video. It's so easy to do on your phone, and again, any assistance you need with that, we'll be happy to help. But reassurance has to be the number one message. Just a little bit on, I suppose, what we're doing with the Hive. So we're kind of, you know, selling the co-working structure that, you know, those that are craving an office environment, so getting away from the kids and all the rest of it we can. And some of so it's all about we're here to help message, but also reassuring them very much about what plans are in place, or what you've done to actually make sure that people are safe, both your staff and your customers. So you can see there on the right, on my right, you know, when you're ready, contact us for a virtual or an in-person tour to discuss your options. And then we've given 5 points as to, you know, that we've clear protocols in place, you know, that the team are trained, that we're proceeding with our expansion plans. So, you know, telling people that we're brave and that things are going ahead as a new normal. And, you know, I know this is an enterprise space, but this concept will work for every one of your businesses, the whole reassurance message. So let us help you with that over the next couple of weeks. I really am so convinced more than ever that great marketing starts with your brand, and it's more than just your name and your logo. It is about your promise to your audience or your customers, and that promise of quality and of consistency. And more importantly for you as a social enterprise, and particularly the context of COVID, that their support matters. So we see a lot about supporting Irish business and supporting local business, and I think I've seen a little bit of a new campaign, the L word and all this sort of stuff. But unless you yourself are sharing this as well, you know, it's not going to make as much impact. So that people's business is really, really valued. So all the things that help make your product or special service in the minds of your customers. A brand allows you to bring the emotion into your marketing. So it's about that emotional connection that they make with you. So it's about what you do, and then how you make people feel, and your brand then is in kind of the middle of that. So again, love to help you with align your marketing, freshen your marketing as part of the mentoring support that we can give, and we're here to help. We've just done a piece of work with one social enterprise. I can't say who they are, but at the moment, but we're helping them align their marketing and or their branding. Branding actually has a personality or a characteristics. So on a scale of between being very corporate and professional and then being friendly and personable, and you know, on different criteria, we're actually just benchmarking where the brand is, and that allows us then to make sure that the messaging plus the images that we use are important. So for example, the John McGahern Interpretive Centre, you know, this is going to be very much about being you know, creative, very, you know, being very inspiring, I suppose, tapping into our literary heritage, our local connections, you know, the really unique perspective on life in our particular region of Leitrim, Roscommon, etc. So, you know, where on that scale should you be, and it put in other criteria that suits, so that, you know, when we are looking at our messaging, that we're looking at being very much on point as such. You are all set up, I suppose, as entrepreneurial organisations that innovate to solve problems. So it could be underuse of your facilities, in the case of a mining experience, job loss, you know, there's are amazing assets or whatever, but you are at your heart, your problem solvers. And again, that's never been drawn on, I suppose, more than now. But I suppose that has to come across in your marketing as well, really, really strongly. So knowing who your audience is and who your customer is is really important, in addition to the community that you impact. So what we're saying is, I suppose, the social enterprise, you're not just selling a product, you're selling your mission, and you're retelling that story over and over again is really, really important, because people don't know. I'd make the point that social enterprises have never been more, they're emerging, and again, community business, social business, they're emerging in importance, I suppose, in terms of there's a new social enterprise policy, national policy announced last year, funding is coming downstream. So, you know, it's a good time, and that things will, you know, I would hope that funding and support and the sector's been taken really, really seriously. But you as a social or community enterprise, you still have to make money to keep the doors open, and whether that comes through revenue or, you know, supported employment or whatever, it's really, really important. The whole area of, I suppose, social conscience and making money and giving it back is absolutely at your core. So you're doing good and making money is part of it. And there's a scale, I suppose, from being a pure charity right through to pure for profit. But actually, you tap a lot of those across the scale. Fill a gap in the market and not just sell a product or service. This is really important. So, for example, the availability of beautiful fresh food was tapped into through, you know, the courtyard farmers market. you know, the community responses in terms of, you know, having the local shop open in Kilbride, all of those, you know, was filling a gap in the market, and you were, you know, providing such an important service. You were going over and above, you were delivering it to people, they could click and collect, they could do, you know, you were being very resourceful. And what have you learned that you can bring in to making that service more credible going on? I suppose what I'm asking is, can you look at what you're selling? And again, Catalyse Press would be another great example that, you know, you didn't think that you could be online as quickly or become, you know, service your business online, but that is now the case, and there's no turning back, and that's good in some ways. But how can, I suppose, you know, how can you build it and communicate that that's your new way of doing business? So again, your brand is about your reputation and your credibility, what you're selling, whether it be a mission, a service, and more, very importantly for those of you in tourism, hospitality, retail, it's about the experience. So, you know, and that experience is very different now. We go back to how we reassure our customers that, you know, where they're coming into a safe place, and that, you know, all there is that if I go to the farmers market on the Saturday morning, that all the resources are in place, and I need to see that on your website and everything that we're doing. So you have to be good marketeers, given that, you know, we don't have that much, you know, resources to spend on marketing. So post-COVID, no doubt about it, we innovate what we do, and we're doing that on an individual basis. We're responding to new challenges. We're allowing room for development and new ways of doing things. And I suppose now is the time. It's almost like you're planning new ways of doing this, but how do you incorporate all that into what your plan is for the next period? You know, focus on practical projects. Just, I suppose, as part of this, focus on practical projects that encourage direct and active participation with real outcomes. And what I mean by that is start locally. Start your sales locally. Talk to people within our region. So, you know, have you been to the Rigna mines lately? The amount of, you know, we know staycations are going to go through the roof, and you know, lots of other regions are having problems, and that there's too many people going to places. But those, you know, asking questions is a great way of marketing. You know, have you listened to Ross FM lately? You said, so you ask the question, and then you are selling. So start with local campaigns, and local can be local, regional, and then as in Loughrea, that we're going out a little bit into Dublin or nationally. But this is our reality for 2020. We, you know, it is a local audience that we are, but invite people to come back and to see and to experience, I think is very, very important. But you reassure them when you do that. So grow involvement organically and allow originality to shine through. Give time and space for new ways of delivery. And what I mean by that is delivery of what you do, of your service. So again, the Courtyard Farmers Market Click and Collect was brilliant. It's obviously led through Facebook, but perhaps the next step would be to bring that online. I know there are some, the neighbourhood food.ie programme has been very successful in some communities. So something like that could be looked at in terms of building it on it. And also, I think it's a really important time to build partnerships locally with businesses and the public sector. So that, I mean, the local authorities and the agencies, etc., to seek out opportunities that can mutually benefit your social enterprise and your wider community. So I know that Tish and the girls are looking at a Discover Boyle, so a whole of town approach, which is great, and showing leadership in pulling all of that together. And I'm going to bring you back in here now in a few minutes, so we can have a discussion about ways that you can do this, and to see that, you know, that is a part of the new normal and part of what will help you stand out. As I said, local ownership and helping people have, I suppose, that pride, and that they have a certain responsibility to support you, can make a difference. But for them to do that and for them to support you, they need to know about you and know what's happening. And I don't think any of us have been able to kind of really articulate what we've been through properly yet, or whatever. It's probably still a little bit raw, but I think what I'd love to see you doing, and again, we can help you in this through social or through our mentoring program, is share your story of how your organization has stepped up. And I think that will be, you know, very newsworthy, and it's certainly something that I think a lot of people will want to read, because we're looking for more meaning in what we're doing. So the real value of community effort when it mattered. You were there. You know, a lot of you stayed open, not deployed remotely, but you were still working, you were still putting in the effort. So how do we get that into a message and a story? And going forward, what is the difference you're hoping to make? Because this is the crux of it for me. It's like, what's next? And I really think, I'm going to bring you in here now, but you know, people don't want to go back to the way things were. Most people that I talk to certainly don't want to. We want more purpose. We want more meaning, and by that we're looking at things like, you know, heritage experiences, angling, mental health services, but with a local focus, supporting you know, local printers, all of the things that have meaning and that will help others. So I suppose what we're really encouraging is that, you know, we're telling them why they should engage and support you, and that needs to be very, very in simple language, nothing highfalutin at all, and it doesn't have to be long. It needs to be short. But and I'm giving you some homework at the end of today. But this is the crux of it, really. And again, technology. Oh Lord, that it's time to adapt, and some of us didn't have time to adapt, and we've done it. And if we were still thinking about it, we mightn't have done it. But it's not just, I suppose, those of you that have a product to sell. What I'm also encouraging you, what I'm also encouraging you is that, you know, has anybody hosted anything online? So it could be, you know, a reading from a John McGahern piece, or you know, something in a, you know, something that's held online. You remember that it was all the families and the bingo and all the other things that were going on, but I think people still want to connect with each other online. We look at the choirs that are setting up and all sorts of groups that are connecting, but are you showing any leadership to host anything online? Would be something maybe to look at. And if you want to do it, what's stopping you in doing it? So can we help in terms of additional training, or you know, is there something that we can help in that regard? So I'm just going to stop my screen there. I hope you're still there. I couldn't see you while I was talking, and I hope that's Sonia. How do I how do we unmute? Sonia is there.
Yeah, Orla.
Perfect. Thank you, Sonia.
Hear you, yeah.
Perfect. Great. Hello, everybody. We're back. We're still here. So, what about reassurance marketing? Does that resonate with you? Can you see that before we actually even start the mechanics of marketing, that we're getting the message right, and the type of message that you need to get right? Does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Does anyone want to share anything that they've been starting to do in that regard, or is it something that we can help? Or
I suppose, like, say for Unawan Tourism, like because we had run a number of different operations.
Yeah.
Like, say for the shop, it was important that we got the message across. It was safe for people to come in to experience the shop, but also that we needed to be safe. From the tourism perspective, the communication with our providers that we're here to support. These are the supports that are available to you. We're in this together. All of that kind of communication. That was really important to me in terms of my own role.
And was that all done directly? Was it done through Facebook? How did you get that message?
I suppose through social media, we were sharing what Falch Ireland were doing in terms of their support hub, directly through email. So I'd send out kind of supportive emails like, I'm here, this is kind of the supports you can avail of, are you okay? And then I phoned as many people as would pick up.
Yeah.
And just to chat to them, you know, particularly the accommodation providers, you know, the bed and breakfasts, maybe older accommodation providers who hadn't maybe experienced anything like this before, weren't savvy online, and just needed to kind of, it nearly ended up more like a counselling service, but it was really nice to kind of feel like I could give them some little bit of encouragement or support. And then the market, I suppose, that was massive, the communication with that, like Facebook, social media were open, this is the service that we're providing, this is how you can engage with us. And then when it came to actually people being able to come and engage with the providers as well, that they knew that they would be safe, that we kept market providers safe. So I mean, every one of us, because each of us look after a different department, it was really important that we kept that communication clear in order to keep our operation going.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I'd say is that I think we were all really good at that stuff in the beginning. And I think we're easing, to me, I'm seeing less messages or less focus on it. And I think we just need to bring back that consistency of, you know, of that reassurance. And I think this is going to be with us for a long time to come. So those of you that have businesses that are going to be up and running for next year, this needs to be at the center still of what you're doing.
We had
Go ahead, Valerie. Yeah.
We had a few people comment to us in the last few days about how safe they felt, that the safety protocol was very evident in the building, and that they, you know, they did feel that all the precautions that could be put in place were put in place. So we just asked them if they would mind giving us a review either on Facebook or on TripAdvisor, because we feel that reassures other people as well. You know, so we've got, I think we've got 2 so far, but I mean, we're only open since Friday, so just, you know, as much as possible, ask people, do you use Facebook? Do you use TripAdvisor? And would you mind making a comment or a review? Because it does reassure other people that are thinking of going, and it's independent. It's not us. You know, although we're trying to reassure people, it's coming independently. So I think that's more valuable.
Brilliant. Yeah. Definitely. And it's hard to ask sometimes for, you know, when you it's like asking for the sale, but when you do it a little bit more, it's great. And then you share it for very intensely.
These were people that came to the counter to us afterwards when they finished their visit or they were leaving, and they made a point of coming to us to say, we feel reassured, we feel that everything is in place, and thank you, we enjoyed the visit, and social distancing was maintained. And that's when you had the opportunity then to say, well, thank you, we really appreciate your comment, would you mind sharing it if you use social media, you know? Just leave it as casual as possible without being bold and asking for it.
I know. But it's gold. It's coal in your case. It's not the mines. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
It's obviously easy to see that everyone in this group has done a lot on the safety thing and on communicating towards the target group. What I've noticed as a user of some services and as a marketer is that people are starting to raise questions about certain services. Oh, is this safe to use? Can I go kayaking? Can I go and stay in a hotel? Can I go into this shop and buy clothes? Is it safe? And then maybe they decide to go and use the service, and then they see that it is available. Maybe they go on the certain Facebook page or open their email and see the message, but maybe they don't. Maybe they just decide to wait. And this is where I find that jumping ahead of their own conclusion is very good strategy, asking the question for them. So forming your message in a way that people having a normal conversation would do, making a blurb or a little marketing visual saying, do you feel safe coming into such and such place or using this service, whatever it is, insert the service, and then answering the question for them. Yes, it is safe using our service because we've done this and this and this. And then it's easy. You don't need a lot of financial support or your own means to get this message out there. A lot of the social media are free, and even if you put a little ad on it and invest an amount of €10, for example, it can go a long way. Or if you just choose to ask your friends to share it further, it can go a long way. But it's just meaningful and important to phrase the message the right way, the way that people have it in their mind, because then they'll notice, because they are asking themselves, okay, I'm really bored with my family here, can I go and do that? But if they see that you've asked it that way for them, they're going to click on that and read it. So that's just a little bit of an advice.
Yeah. And the next sessions are going to be about the mechanics of it, I suppose. But what we'd want to do is get you thinking of that. What is the message specific to you? And that's, you know, that is important. And you know, a lot of you have great content, but I think if we help you adapt it a little bit, it'll make a big difference. We have a nice message there from Martina, your message, which is a bit ironic that our broadcaster can't talk to us. Sorry, Martina, but she just on the chat there, Martina Dockery. Sorry, I've a problem with my mic. No idea what it is. I'm Martina from Ross FM Radio. We stayed on air throughout, and actually I became a first-time listener for my sins, or I should have done it before through it. And a lot of that consisted of additional programme from other stations, limited broadcasts from home where possible, the addition of mass broadcast each morning, and the addition of the Rossi Way, which is really, really good, which has now come to an end in its present format. We have experienced a loss of fundraising options as we were unable to plan a major fundraiser this year. On the plus side, we're in the process of launching our fantastic new Ross FM Roadcaster. Brilliant. So that is great. And again, fundraising income being a big issue, I suppose, for everybody. While I have you, can I just go back to this screen? I just want to unmute yourselves because I want to hear from you in relation to the this piece here. Sorry. Where am I? Hello, can everybody hear me? Yeah, great. Okay, perfect. Sorry, let me get the right one. And you can see me or see the screen, yeah?
We can see the screen and you, Orla.
Brilliant. For current slide, that one. Perfect, great. So can we just I'm conscious that I need to get a handle on where you are in terms of the COVID supports, your awareness of funding. So can I ask you, everybody, just to give me a little bit of an update in this regard?
I suppose for us in the hub, the only time we became aware of the funding was through leadership and SIDECAP. They made us aware of funding back to work.
Perfect. And did you apply?
We're applying now. We're talking on Wednesday about some of it.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Okay. So your awareness has gone up, obviously, through SIDECAP, and you are making an application.
Yes.
Brilliant. Great. Okay. Anyone else?
At Trace Press, we have availed of the Pubble Support Fund, which is like an addendum to our contract. So there was an extra €1,000 to that. We were just fortunate enough to get Social Innovation Fund for this year. So
brilliant.
That's a big help.
Brilliant.
I'm not actually sure of too many others, to be honest.
Okay, perfect. So we could add value there. Yeah, great. Perfect. Because the fact that you're going online and stuff now as well, I mean, did you look at doing any of the trading online vouchers or?
We did. We're currently applying for that, and we will use part of our social innovation funding towards that as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Great. Lovely. Well, if there's anything we can help in that regard, please
Great.
shout as well. Great. Who else are we? Valerie, you were telling us you had to spend a lot of money on signage and
Yeah, we reckon it cost us the both really 5,000 to reopen. We also availed of the Hubble Support Fund for the staffing wages, which was great. It was great. They added them to the contract. We looked at the Hubble Dormant Accounts Fund, and we also looked at the Roscommon County Council grants that were available there, but unfortunately we didn't fulfill the criteria for them, Orla. So we weren't eligible, you know. So I think because we're already funded by Hubble, there's always the issue of double funding. You know, that can come to the fore. So you can be quite limited with what other funds you can access as a result. You know.
Okay. Well, we'll just look at that in terms of the the capital outlay that you had, and we're expecting tourism as a tourism business. Now, we park the social enterprise part, but as a leading visitor attraction, we'd hope that there's going to be something for the tourism sector in the stimulus announced this week. So we'll keep you plugged into that, Valerie. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, who else?
Hi, Orla. We too, because we're Hubble's program, we got our support fund as well from Hubble towards wages, which was great. We applied we did qualify for the return to work grant from the County Council, and we were successful in that. We're currently applying for the Trading Online voucher as well.
Brilliant.
And in addition to that, perhaps, I don't know if it's of any help to anybody at the moment, but excuse me, during our shutdown, we rent our premises from the County Council, and we applied to them for a reduction in rent. We went back to our telephone holders, Vodafone, and we asked for a reduction in our charges and fees while we were closed. We went back to our insurance company and got a reduction in our insurance through the period that we were closed. And I suppose we just looked at any element that we could tap into in our overheads. And we thankfully we were successful in all of them. And we got a reduction, and our insurance company have deferred our payment, our reduced payment for another 3 to 4 months. So that was great. And, every little bit helps,
Oh, it certainly does. Yeah. And the Trading Online voucher is great. They're now extended it to social enterprises, because we used to be able to apply. So now is the time to do that, and that's helping you to go online. And the rates have gone up, haven't they, in terms of the level of support, I think. So we'll share that information as well. But yeah, it's very worthwhile.
Yeah, Jeremy's very helpful. Sabrina's been working away with him there, and Jeremy in the enterprise office is very,
Perfect. And we'll send out the link to you after this as well. And for those of you that are looking at, you have to be 1 year in business now. I'm not sure whether they took that out or not, but it's definitely something for many of you to look at. It'll take some of the pain out of getting the e-commerce parts of your website, but it'll also cover other things: videos, photography, branding, lots of other things. So
it's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant, Orla. And just like, if you were to read the eligibility, we would have probably said, oh, we're not really eligible. But like, I would definitely say still email Jeremy, just a clear email, and ask him what you need. And he's so helpful. Like,
they will help if they can. And that's such a good point, Sabrina. Sometimes when you read the eligibility and you go, no, that doesn't match us at all. But it's always worthwhile pushing it a little bit. It
helps to be a chancer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. no harm at all. And if any of you want any help in doing that form, it's not a complicated form, but again, we're here to help. Do you know what I mean? In very practical ways. So use us. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the name of that form, Orla?
So it's the trading online voucher. And if you go on to localenterprise.ie/Roscommon, you will be able to go to it from there. And again, as Sabrina said, if you read it, you mightn't think it fits, but certainly Roscommon have always been brilliant in terms of funding, you know, being a little bit creative around the rules if they have to be, you know.
And even the application can look more complicated than it actually is. You know, they'd nearly go through it with you and answer the questions with you. You know, it's just definitely worthwhile talking to Jeremy earlier on than kind of going at it yourself.
Yeah. We'll send you the details. You have to do an online workshop with them to be able to make an application, but that's a good learning experience. It's definitely you know, definitely worthwhile. Yeah, but you can use the fund for all sorts of online activities, so it's very worthwhile. In terms of your availing of any supports or your awareness of funding. Isha, what about yourself?
Sorry?
Isha, have you been able to avail of any funding supports or?
You see, I don't know, because we the only thing we've availed of is the top up from Pobble.
Yeah.
And we availed of, because we came in under the criteria of the €1,000 for the signs, the PPE and all that. Because we were helping the community. So we got that, but you have to draw that down. You have to send in your receipts and draw that down. The rest, you see, I didn't know what we could do, because we didn't come under the thing as back to work, because we were already working. So
you know,
I didn't know what, even though we were part open.
I know. Okay.
No.
Well, look, for next week, I'm going to have, and again, it'll be fresh off the presses. And as our Loughree friends told us earlier, there are the climate action stuff, the green funds that are coming down the line. There's lots of opportunity. So I think, you know, we'll definitely plug you into any of that information and help you to you know, to maximize that. Has anyone anything else on the funding side?
I can share two links that might be useful. Ireland Funds and Community Foundation for Ireland are two resources that might be really useful for this group here to check what we have available, and some of the other ones on the national level as well.
Yeah. I know. Brilliant. That's great. Thank you. Lovely. Okay. And we'll catch up with the rest of you individually as well through the mentoring, if that's okay. Any other questions around this particular slide here about, you know, are you up for working with us, I suppose, to create great new content in this way? Are we on?
Can I
We're okay
there?
Sorry?
Mary here. Can I come in there?
Please, Mary,
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, please, we can hear you,
Yeah, it's just, I'm working, I've done some work with the Loughree anglers. I think the fact
can hear nothing.
Do you want to turn off your video, Mary, and we might be able to hear you a little bit better?
Next month could be a great opportunity to, you know, tell the story. I'll turn off the video. I'm probably not. I haven't great coverage.
Yeah, if you don't mind turning off your video, exactly.
For the local community and for County Roscommon. Sorry, when the Loughree anglers, when they have their boat, I think it would be a great opportunity to tell their story, get a profile out of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great PR. A good news story is just, you know, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, no. And we'll certainly help you you know, to craft a really good message with that as well. Absolutely. And put it in the context of people want more purpose, more meaningful, and, you know, more experiences, which is great. So, yeah. And I suppose any of us have that chance for, you know, using the technology to as best we can to adapt. And yeah. Sorry. Someone else coming in there? You all right? Okay. I suppose one of the other things that I wanted to do with ourselves was collaborate with each other, because I'm really conscious we have a printer, we have a broadcaster, we have 4, if not 5 tourism experiences, or tourism and heritage. So we've lots of opportunities to help each other. And I love this. This for me is just, you know, draw the circle wide. I think is beautiful. It's draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let it be our song. No one stands alone. So I think as a piece of homework, now that we've met each other, think of one small thing to help a different person in the group, and do some action on it. So for example, it could be a piece of printing that I need to get done. So we can ask Catalyse Press for a quotation online, of course, by email. Or, you know, thanks to Una, we're sharing their experience of the trading online voucher. So someone else might need to get that information. But it really, how can we, you know, think of one small thing to help each other as a group of social enterprises in Roscommon? What can we do to help each other in some small way over the next couple of weeks? So, you know, collaboration with each other, helping each other step by step, I think is going to be, you know, part of the new normal, really. And I think it's something, and we've a lot more content on that to follow in the coming weeks. So I take that as being one of the things I'm going to ask you about. You know, think one small thing to help someone else in the group and do something about it. And this is probably where we're building on from today. So, we'll email you these slides straight after the presentation, but you know, articulate your challenge in 100 words or less. So what is the biggest challenge you're facing right now? We've touched on some of them earlier, but I suppose, and it's just literally getting it in writing for me. I'm giving you my own email address there now. But in terms of financial, in terms of any fundraising problems that you have, what has been a barrier? You know, obviously there's been cancelled events and, you know, other streams. So, you know, we help you come up with some creative ways to reboot fundraising. Is it logistics like that, the opening part, you know, a third capacity, juggling personnel, and you know, rotas and all of that sort of thing? What are your biggest challenges right now? Now, some of you shared this with Laura yesterday, so what we do is we give them back to you, and you can confirm them. But what is the impact of those problems and challenges? Because I think that's really important. What does it mean? You know, it's lost income by X amount, or you know, what does it mean to you? And if you could email them to me by next Monday at the very latest, ideally Friday, that would be great, because this is going to start us working with you on a one-to-one basis to help them. It could be, I don't know, you know, our main focus is on marketing as well. So, you know, is that your biggest challenge? And again, we've a really good sense of where you all are now in terms of what your marketing priorities are, I suppose. But this will be a chance to help you, I suppose, look at areas of business development, look at the whole area of financing and fundraising. So I'd love to, it could be branding, and have a think about the you know, the mentoring part that we will be helping you with, because we're going to help you in a very practical way through these issues. Just stop sharing now. Can I Sonia just to unmute if that's okay. I don't know how to do this. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sonia.
I'll unmute everyone.
Thank you. Brilliant. So as I said, we are, and thanks a million for, look at this, I love this live information. Deborah's given us the Rethink Ireland Fund, Equality Fund open today. I've a document almost finished of different opportunities. I was waiting for the stimulus to be announced. If they'd stopped talking in Europe and let Micheál Martin back, we'd know what the stimulus was. But yeah, so it's very close. It definitely will be this week. But there's definitely great supports out there that now is your chance to avail of them. We're here to help. So I think that's going to be really, really important as such. And as I said, the coming weeks are about the mechanics of the marketing side of it and how we can help you get the message right, and then the technical part of getting it out there. And I've made a note of individual issues, I suppose, that we can come back to you on. So anything, anything else that that you haven't seen today that we need to build in over the coming weeks?
Okay.
No? Are we?
No much on target there.
Good.
We're on target there with
We're
everything.
on target. Good,
Yeah.
good. That's great. And have a think about that one thing you can do for someone else in the group. I think it's just paying it forward, and all of that is just coming into play. And the fact that you are for good enterprises, I think it's just a wonderful opportunity to create a connection with others.
How do we? Can we get the email address or something?
Yes, the email I sent this morning, I did it on purpose, and I should have asked you beforehand. But I'll ask for forgiveness and not permission. So there was a few other people added to it. So when we send you out the slides, if you're okay with us sharing your email address with the group.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Or you can opt out to just private message me or whatever. And yeah, so that'd be great. And just something that might come to you during the week and say, do you know what, somebody would benefit from. It could be solving Strokestown's problem on the, on having the trader's license for the coffee cart. But if we just help each other in some small ways, I think that'll be great. It'll be the start of, a network, a collaboration, help forming. Because there's no reason why you as a group couldn't align and go for group marketing to some funding opportunities that will be arising or whatever, to get you all some money or whatever, so it's that's one thing I'd love to happen from today. But if you think of anything during the week, as I said, that the rest of the modules are going to be quite meaty. We will be sharing with you, you have to come back to me with your 100 words in the week ahead, and we will certainly support you from there and make sure that the content is very tailored to what you need it to be. Anyone else got anything to share? One of the things, actually, just before I move on, if any of you have additional space and fairly good broadband, there's a huge focus now on providing desk space for people that work commuting or need to work outside of their home, but in an environment a little bit like your hub there, Pearson, downtown Lanesborough, or is it Ballylee? I don't know which. But it's, so if you have space, that's something we can certainly help you with as well. There's a huge opportunity for the whole co-working, etc.
We have plenty of space anyway.
If that's what I'm thinking, Lisa. Yeah, definitely. That's I had my first in-person training day yesterday, and I'd hate to think of the amount of money they spent in the Loughrea Hotel in Loughrea Hotel in Loughrea, but like everybody 2 meters apart, whatever. But it was great to see people back using rooms. There's no reason why, as a community, couldn't be that type of room. It's much more, you know, I would say it was really, really expensive, but it was great to be back in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got our sound and our heating upgraded, so.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, perfect. Well, that's something maybe, Isha, that we could help you with, is look at, you know, in a responsible way, encouraging events or, you know, small gatherings that you're open for that type of thing, you know. I think it would be great. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Anyone else, anything to add? No?
You know, there's big money in from Europe for the agricultural section. But is there any way that, let's say, our project could slip into that?
Yes, there's well, there's two things. I suppose the agriculture money comes down through rural development funding, which is probably the only way individually we can get at it would be through Leader. But if you twist it a little bit, Pierce, so the whole green and environmental area is probably more funding. So the Climate Action Fund.
You're freezing.
I'm freezing. You got me now? You okay?
You're okay.
So the Climate Action Fund would be one lovely one for nearly all of you. So it could be Strokestown using compostable, you know, takeaway cups and just anything that you can do to be more sustainable or green in your business. We can certainly look at opportunities in that regard. The other thing is that there's a new social enterprise policy coming out of Europe, because they recognise the role that you've played in the COVID-19. So we're waiting for that funding as well. Yes, there's some funding available nationally, came through dormant accounts, but there's going to be a direct European fund. And it's definitely worthwhile going direct to Europe for some funding. In your case, Pierce, it would be perhaps linking up with one or two other countries and similar projects to your own. And then you as a partnership ask for funding. So we can certainly help. That momentum, our bread and butter is actually EU funding as opposed to Irish funding. Because sometimes Irish funds you have to wait for so long, and there's a lot more money in Europe, so we'll help you with that on one-to-one basis, definitely. Yeah, good. So anything innovative we want to hear about, and we'll find a way. That's the way we do business. Yeah. Okay. Well, if everybody is okay, we will adjourn for today. I will adjourn for today, and we'll be emailing you out after the session. We'll be adding the additional emails that Mary and Sonia had put to us. Sonia will export the little bit of chat that was going on here, so we're able to share that as well. And you will be joining Laura next week for session 2 of the real meaty of marketing. And I'll just tell you to brace yourselves, be ready, because she's a force of nature, and it'll be good fun. Yeah, great.
Thank you so much, Orla. It was very interesting.
So much.
Thanks a million,
That's
Orla.
all my pleasure, and
Thanks,
I'm
Orla.
delighted to be working with you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Lovely to
Thank
see
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.